with today's Scrap Your Scraps video, and I'm really excited about this one because I'm going to make two layouts, yay! And I'm going to use some of my favorite things, my scraps and my punches. And I have a bunch of photos here. So what I did was I used this app on my cell phone, which I can't really show you because I film with my phone. It's called PicStitch, and I created these collages. So what I did was I created a collage that would have 12 photos on it, and the photos are they're just over 1 inch, so about 1.5 inches by 1 inch. And I printed out a whole bunch of them. So I printed out 24 that were from Christmas, and then a bunch that were from the rest of the year. And this was super easy to use. I just used my PicStitch app on my phone, uploaded all the photos to my phone, placed them where I wanted them, and then printed them off with my Canon Selphy, which was perfect. And I'm going to make two layouts today. I'm actually going to make the layouts that will go at the back of my 2015 album because I'm done 2015, which I'm super excited about. So, I already did the scrap part, but I'm going to show you how I did it because I'm sure you're going to be interested. So what I did was I grabbed 3 punches. I have them here. These 2 are by Fiskars, and this one is a Martha Stewart punch. So I used a scallop punch, you can see here, and I punched a bunch of scallops out of my scraps using the scallop punch. Then I use this circle punch, and it does not have a size on it, but I'll tell you in a second. And then I punch a bunch of circles using this circle punch, and the diameter of the circle is 1.5. Then using my hot glue gun, I glued the scallop to the circle, making sort of like a flower, okay? So you're going to need a scallop punch and 2 circle punches. And you want the 2 circle punches to be slightly smaller. So this, I think, is a 2-inch scallop punch. This is a 1.5 inch circle punch. And then this is, I'll tell you, a 1-inch circle punch, okay? So I didn't actually punch anything out of this yet. I just punched the scallops and the larger circle. And I'll show you what I did. I made this background. So as you can see, I just punched out a bunch of the scallops, a bunch of the circles, and made this background like this, layering them on top of each other. I let some overlap the sides. So that's going to be one of my pages today. The other page, I'm going to use this. And this is from a Dear Lizzie collection. I don't actually know what collection it came from. I want to say Serendipity, I think. And it's a cut-apart sheet. And it has all of these little pieces that you can cut apart. But I'm not going to cut them apart. I'm actually going to use this cut-apart sheet whole. So I'm going to have these 2 pages. And a lot of these papers are actually from the same collection. I think I can see some that match really well. That came from the same huge paper pad. So it looks really nice together. So one of these is going to be one side of the page and the other one is going to be the other. And they're going to go at the back of my 2015 album. So this is going to be the first side, and then this will be the second side. And I'm going to use some scraps on this side too, so don't you worry. So next thing is I have all the photos that I printed off, and I've got a bunch here. I've got about 25 that are from Christmas, and then I just picked a random selection of photos from the rest of the year. So all of these photos all of the ones from the rest of the year are already in the album. They have either full pages or they have Project Life pages, but I wanted to make like a recap page, recapping everything that's happened for the year. This one is because of December. I did December daily, and I don't want to scrapbook all of the December daily photos again in my 2015 album. I just want a quick sampling. So that's why I just grabbed a couple of photos, well, 25 photos or whatever, of Christmas type photos that I could use here. So I'm going to start with this page because that one's going to be the easiest one to do because it's already prepared and ready to go, basically. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that 1-inch hole punch, or 1-inch circle punch, and I am going to punch a bunch of circles out of these photos. So some of them are going to get cut off, I realize that, but you know what, that's okay because all of these photos are scrapbooks somewhere else. It's more just to get a sampling of what happened in 2015. Now, you could totally do this with other shapes too. I think what works the best is to have a larger and a smaller of the same shape. And you could totally skip the scallop if you didn't want that like flowery look too. So I'm not going to be able to get into this middle section, so I'm just going to trim along here to punch out the rest of those circles. And I feel like this is going to be really cool at the back of my album because it just gives like a quick snapshot of everything that happened in Christmas, everything that happened during the year. Some of my favorite moments from the year are on these photos. So it works really well. So just wanted to say something about the PicStitch app. It didn't actually come with a design like this where there was 12 squares, but there is an option. I think you have to pay $1.25 to be able to design your own shapes or your own breakups, and so that's what I did. If you are good with Photoshop, you could totally just do this on Photoshop and skip that step, but I do not know how to use Photoshop and I didn't really want to learn, so using the PicStitch app was the best way to do this. And I just like that it gives all just a quick snapshot. Okay, now that I have all of my little circles punched out, what I'm going to do is I am going to adhere them on top of these little circles. So I think what I'm going to do first is decide where I want them all, and then I will stick them down. It's probably not necessary because there isn't really any rhyme or reason, but I think some photos might look better on different backgrounds. I mean, it's really up to you. And I am not, shocker, going to add journaling. You definitely could if you wanted to, so don't use me as the base. But the reason I'm not going to add journaling is because all of these photos have already been scrapbooked. All of them already have journaling with them. I don't really want to re-journal all of these photos. I really just wanted to give a snapshot of December 2015 when I went to Uganda and did all these fun things. So there we go. So I think there's, oh, I'm skipping. I left one blank in the middle, and that's because I'm going to add like a little title here, but there's 24 photos on all the rest of the circles. So if you were going to do some journaling, what you could do is you could journal in that space there around the circles. If the page looks too busy to you, what you could do is use 2 or 3 designs rather than like just crazy scraps. I actually sort of love the color. It's, I don't know, that's just who I am, and I like that it's a little busy. It doesn't bother me, but again, go with whatever feels right to you. And I'm not going to add journaling just because, like I said, all of these are already scrapbooks, so I don't feel like it's necessary to journal everything twice. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick a little bit of adhesive on the back of each of these and stick them down, and I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so I placed all of the photos where I wanted them. I did move a couple of them around just because I thought they looked better on a different background, and that that one is done. So now I'm going to work on the second page, and I'm going to come back to titles and embellishments later. What I wanted to do on the second page was use these boxes to do some journaling. And I wanted to include like a little photo so that I could say like, so that I could put the journaling and then the photo beside it. So I'm going to grab my 1-inch hole punch again, and I'm going to just take these, oh, this is the wrong side. I'm going to grab my 1-inch hole punch again, and I'm just going to punch out all of the images again. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I punched out all of my little pictures, and I'm going to place them on here. Now, I said I was going to use scraps for this side, and I am. So what I did was I pulled out my scraps, and I noticed that I had a bunch of cardstock, like dark colored cardstock, and I actually have a lot of navy blue. I have some black too, but some of it's a little faded, so I didn't want to use the black. I'm going to use the navy blue, and I'm going to make frames for all of these little photos, and I'm going to do that by punching out a bigger circle to place this photo on. Now, it's not really the perfect size. I wish it was like just slightly larger, not like so big, but it's okay. Another option is, instead of using the punch, which I think I'm going to do this, is I'm going to just glue these down or adhere these down and just trim them out and just try to be as neat as possible. It's not going to be perfect. If you care about being perfect, my suggestion is use a punch if that really bothers you, but it won't bother me if it just has a little dark line around it too. So I'm going to do those and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have all my photos, which I put a little mat on them in navy blue, and the navy blue actually looks really pretty with this background. So I might have done more than I'm actually going to need, so that's okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to figure out where I want them, and some of them I think I might put like 3 or 2, or I might do like a row of them or something like that. And there's some that go together, like this one. They're both about scrapbooking. This one is when I met my friend Sophie, who I met online. This one's about scrapbooking. So is this one, or not that one, this one of my typewriters. So those ones all sort of go together. So I'm gonna put them close together, and I'm gonna figure out where I want them all, lay them all out, and decide where I want them, and then I'll stick them down, and then I'll add my journaling. Okay, I picked where I wanted all the photos, and some of them I've overlapped a little bit to like overlap, so there's like 3 photos here. I put like a string of photos. I like the way that it looks. I feel like I might move some of them around a little bit more just because I'm trying to figure out where I want them the best. But I feel like this gives a good overview of this past year, so 2015. There are some extras, but that's okay. I don't mind. So I'm going to just place them down. And I am going to do journaling on this page. I know I said I wasn't going to do it on the other one, but for this one I just want to give like a page where I have an overview of all the different things that I did. Okay, so I finished my journaling. I found a stamp set, this one, from the Something Sweet collection or kit by Felicity Jane, and there was this word that says remember. So I used Power Suit Color Theory ink and stamped remember on each of the squares, and then I did my journaling and I just talked about some of the things I remember. So remember facing your fears, doing things you never thought you could do, like dyeing your hair pink, talking to a boy, trying YouTube, standing up for myself, facing fears. Remember grandma and the precious moments with her this year. Remember meeting new people and making new friends like Sophie. Remember starting a YouTube channel and the thrill when you hit 100 subbies. Remember hosting women's events at Eastridge and doing it your way. Remember falling in love with scrapbooking and discovering the artist inside, giving yourself permission to create and share it. Remember Bible study with the girls, learning new things, developing deep friendships, seeing growth, becoming a leader, and seeing God move. Remember going to New York to watch Imba, which is the documentary, having fun with Mom, seeing Amazing Grace and Megan. Remember spending time with Mom, traveling, working, walking, becoming even closer friends. Remember turning 26 years old, and remember celebrating milestones with family and friends. Remember going to Bolivia for the 3rd time. Remember Mom and Dad getting to go to Kenya and getting to go to Uganda yourself. Remember bringing Bernie home for the first time, and then it just says remember Bernie, and then remember how Bernie just fit in with this goofy family. So I'm loving the way it worked out. I left this one blank open, and that's because I wanted to add the date there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use these gold thickers. These are Dear Lizzie thickers, which seems apropos, and I'm just gonna put 2015. So remember 2015. And actually I think I'm going to move this over because there's enough space. I'm going to put hashtag 2015 because that seems like a 2015 kind of thing. Hashtags, I'm not a big like in using things like that, but I feel like it's cool to use something that maybe 10 years from now won't really apply anymore. So that's that page, and that one's done. And then this page is done too. Remember I said I wasn't going to add any journaling. I just wanted to add something here. So what I'm going to put is December, but obviously December is not going to fit. So I'm just going to put DEC, and I don't have enough thickers, but I wanted it to be the same. So I'm using a D, an E. That is not an E, it's the letter 3. And I'm going to cut this O to make a C. Just going to cut out a little bit from the middle, and there I've got December. And I'm going to grab a dot to put DEC dot. Okay, so there you go. There are my 2 Scrap Your Scraps pages for today. I know they're really busy. I totally get that. I don't even mind. They're just going at the end of the album sort of as a wrap-up for the year. This one's showing a wrap-up of December because I didn't scrapbook any December photos because they're all in my December daily. And then this one, which just talks about all of the really awesome things that happened in 2015 that I want to remember. Like traveling and working and my dog and friends and just my favorite moments. So let me know if you guys have any questions or comments or thoughts. Leave them below in the comment section. Thank you so much for subscribing. It's crazy to think that in 1 year I went from 100 to almost 5,000 subbies, which is just mind-boggling. So that's because of you guys. And if you aren't a part of my Scrap Your Scraps Facebook group yet, you should come join us. I'll leave a link in the description of the video below, and I'll see you there. Bye, guys.